awarded the amount or not. They had discussions, and that discussion should not even have taken place. It was an illegal discussion in the first place.
It's amazing how many of these candidates don't know what's going on in city council or city government. My administration was the administration who brought FEMA money here to deal with flood eradication. I went to Albany, Georgia, when all the money came to Albany, Georgia, and we negotiated to bring the excess amount to Savannah. We also had to go to Washington and get permission to do so. But the FEMA money is here to deal with flood problems in this community. We bought out many homes in this community, especially over in Winter Forest and other areas, using that money. And the statute of limitation was a problem in that decision in dealing with the council, regardless whether or not a arbitrator gave permission to go forward. It's still the council approved it, and that's the problem, that they didn't do their homework or the due diligence in the common state. That is the problem. But we don't know, and I don't know, when the actual claim was filed. You need to go back and check that report and go from there. Tom, you should know that. But I don't know. We have to deal with it from that perspective and accept it, because I wasn't there. But the FEMA money came to Savannah because of the Adams administration.
This all gets back to accountability. This council has decided they're not accountable for anything. Any expenditure over $25,000 has to be approved by City Council under our city charter. This City Council person was paid over $50,000 for a claim that the statute of limitations had already run out. She had no right to that money. What about the other people in the neighborhood, her next door neighbor who flooded? Why can't they come to City Council and say, where's my $50,000? This is a question of accountability and cronyism, and it's a very, very blatant situation. I think everybody recognizes it for what it is.
Well, we do have a lawyer who is a city council member as well, and he can tell you, and maybe he's more believable, I don't know, but this is what you call a time-barred claim. If you or I were to go down and suffer a claim, lay out the facts of your claim, but it happened 7 months ago, or even a day late past the 6 months, it would be time barred, your case would be dismissed. But that doesn't apply to the fact, this is a member of city council. So here we are talking about complaints again, ethics complaints. The citizen did actually file a complaint concerning this very matter, and the citizen has yet to get a response. The ethics panel has not been called as the ethics ordinance calls for. So please do ask these tough questions about that. Will your claim be satisfied if it too is 3 years old? Are you good enough?
Thank you, Mr. Dewberry. The legal term that you're referring to or trying to hit on is called anti-litem notice. Specifically, it does provide that claims are supposed to be brought in a certain period of time. Over the period of years, Mr. Blackburn has gleefully thrown many people out of being able to pursue such claims based on that anti-litem notice. It was wrong to have paid this claim, but let me tell you how it occurred. Mr. Blackburn advised us. He is our legal counsel. We are bound to follow our legal counsel, whether I'm an attorney or not. He's getting paid the major bucks to give us correct legal advice. The advice he gave us was that Ms. Osborne had met an exception to the anti-litem statute. What should have been done, the case should have gone to a special master in the court. It shouldn't have been in the council's hands in the first place. That's the way it's been handled in the past when we bought property from Kenneth Sadler, who was an alderman, and that's what should have happened in this particular case. We authorized, he told us she met the exception to the anti-litem notice. We authorized $25,000 to $35,000 to negotiate, and then we found out that he had settled the claim for $50,000. It's wrong.
All right, thank you, candidates. That concludes round one. Before we get started on round two, I'd like to remind everybody, if you have a question you'd like to ask the candidates, please write it on the index card. If you don't have an index card and would like one, please raise your hand. We will have volunteers walking around to hand you a blank index card, even though they just found out about that. And once you have your index card filled out with the question, please again raise your hand or pass it to the end of the aisle. Volunteers will come pick them up, and we will get them distributed to the panelists. We'll go ahead and get started on round two. Alice, will you start with Regina Thomas?
Okay. There have been calls for a new state-of-the-art police headquarters by several candidates, but there's not money right now for that set aside. Right now, the SPLOST money is going to a downtown precinct, a central precinct, a training facility. Money would have to be reallocated for that new state-of-the-art police headquarters. Where do you think that money should come from? Yes.
Yes.
Excuse me. Once again, Mayor and Council have not done their due diligence. I think that in the 2014 budget, about $800,000 is allocated for the police department for a precinct. They've already spent in excess of $2.1 million that came from SPLOST funding, and that money, because that precinct is not going to be placed there on the Waters Avenue corridor, that they will have to replace that money because it was SPLOST money. It's going to be hard to determine where the money is coming from, but I can tell you that first and foremost on this mayor and council's mind should have been public safety. And because it was not on their minds, they're going to have to come up with some innovative ways as far as finding some money. There are other property that the city owns that they may be able to go to until we can find the money. Coming from a recession, and hopefully we will not go into a double debt recession, but because we are coming back from a recession, because money has been wasted, it's going to be a hard sell to try to find the money, but I can tell you, as a priority and a former policeman's wife, we will find the money for our police officers.
It's amazing. Those plans were approved almost 8 years ago, when we merged the police department with the county. We set up a convenient situation in where we would talk about putting police stations in certain areas. We built one, actually, fire station out at the airport, the new police station out in Livingston Island, and other areas we identified before I left office for that to be done. Now, what you don't realize, ladies and gentlemen, the county paid for the police station out there. The county controls the sparks tax. We have to look at it from that perspective. What happened between the last 8 years when they pulled off and changed the plans? They need to go back and look at it and make certain. Now they're rushing to try to build a fire station that is sitting over on Whitaker Street, going to have groundbreaking sometime this week because of political season. But we need to look at it and analyze the entire situation.
The special purpose local option sales tax is exactly that. It's special purpose monies that the citizens voted on. This city council has decided that they're going to take some of these funds and spend them here and there instead of what the people voted for. I think during the next special purpose local option sales tax, people are going to think twice because they don't know what they're voting on anymore. This city council has turned the tables and they have reallocated funds that were supposed to be spent on certain projects to other projects, and I think that's wrong. So as far as a new police station, I think there's enough waste in our city government right now that we should find the money to fund a new police headquarters out of all the waste that we have currently in our city budget.
Yeah, thanks for the audience in that question. Well, I know where $34 million is right now. The city, 3 years ago, borrowed $20 million to improve President Street, which some say is the best engineered road in town, in exchange to General McIntosh Boulevard. $20 million. And ask them why it's still sitting in the bank all this time later. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Additionally, $14 million is being put into a sewage project that is a drainage project that is over-designed in Haversham Village. Now, I've lived in that community most of my life, and I can tell you that this is a boondoggle, $14 million expenditure. So the answer to the question is, I've come up with $34 million here. I know that we can cut a bunch of waste out of other areas and bloated departments, and then also shake down the county for more of the SPLOST dollars that they should already be dedicating to see this Metro headquarters constructed.
It's important to have the facts and to know what the police chief is asking for. The police chief is asking for 2 acres, not an existing building, putting up a brand new building. So let's get see, it's easy when you're sitting on the outside and you don't know really what's going on the inside with the city manager and our chief. And that is what he is asking for. So that has, to answer your question very directly, that is somewhat the holdup. It should be done quickly. I do believe that if there is an existing building, we should explore that option. Approximately 2 acres may be too much. But what's even more important is that the mayor and council must reach a consensus that we should never shift SPLOST funds. That shouldn't have been done. That was a suggestion by the city manager. I don't agree with that because the people need to know, trust and integrity, that when you vote on something, that's what your money is going to be used for. Thank you.
I do feel that we will find money for the police department. This is top priority on this council's list, and I'm sure it will be top priority on the new council's list. We must have it. I do agree with Jeff that we must have the right location. One thing, there is land all over Savannah, but I would love to see the police department, the central police department, remain in the inner city downtown area for the residents. That is what part of the problem is, finding that piece of land that will accommodate the size of building that we need to have. The police chief, the city manager, and council are looking at several sites at this time, and hopefully we will be able to move forward. I would hope by the first of the year at the least, but I understand that we will be given a report even prior to that. But we are looking at the chief to give us some directions too, because he does want state-of-the-art police facility.
Professor Wilson?
Were we allowed to rebut that?
I was not, there was no one was specifically mentioning that, so no. But, Professor Wilson?
Mr. Adams and Ms. Thomas.
Oh, she was her.
Sorry.
Mr. Adams, how would you describe the role of the mayor in a council manager form of government?
The mayor is the official spokesperson for the city of Savannah, decides on all official meetings, and basically, as I stated previously in one of these other forums, the mayor is the direct supervisor of the city manager. You have the leadership and establishment of a relationship between that individual. When I was mayor, Michael Brown may have a staff meeting at 8 o'clock. He was in my office at 12 o'clock. Basically, you bring certain department heads with him, and we discuss issues. I think I know about drainage programs and everything else because I did my homework. That's the relationship. You also must realize the council, the mayor and council sets the policy, and the city manager carries out that policy. So you have to have some checks and balances to make certain everything goes well.
I'm glad you asked that question because we have lost our council manager form of government that has served us so well since the mid-50s. This council has decided that they're going to micromanage all the department heads and the city manager, and caused our city manager, Michael Brown, to leave, as well as Chris Mayoral, one of our brightest assistant city managers. Our council manager form of government works like this. City council and the mayor act as a board of directors. The mayor is the chairman of the board. The CEO, the chief executive officer who runs the city on a day-to-day basis is the